We're back here tonight with our in-depth report. It has to do with one of the most controversial decisions facing the Obama administration. It's the question for their new Justice Department whether or not to launch a criminal investigation into the Bush administration's policy of warrantless surveillance of U.S. citizens. We get more on this story from our senior investigative correspondent, Lisa Myers.
After 9/11, the National Security Agency began eavesdropping on Americans without court orders, part of the Bush administration's war on terror. Adrian Kinney, an Arabic linguist and military intelligence officer, worked in an NSA facility for 2 years, monitoring phone calls from Afghanistan, Iraq, and the surrounding region.
I would say that it was fairly common that we would intercept the conversations of Americans, either journalists, aid workers, or even members of the military.
Kinney says even after she protested to superiors that these calls involved Americans and had nothing to do with terrorism, she was told to keep listening.
A lot of them were personal calls back to the United States. It felt almost like you were reading somebody else's diary.
Today, NSA said it's investigating the allegations and considers the constitutional rights of U.S. citizens to be sacrosanct. But critics say the surveillance program violated a law which prohibited domestic spying on Americans without a warrant issued by a special court. Congress loosened those restrictions in 2007. James Bamford is author of 3 books and a new Nova documentary titled The Spy Factory, to be broadcast on PBS tomorrow night. He says spying on Americans was more extensive than the government has admitted, and that a criminal investigation is needed.
The point is, you've got to at least do the legal thing in the United States, which is investigate a potential criminal activity and find out what happened.
Some conservatives, including Harvard professor Charles Fried, say even if the law was violated, prosecutions are unwarranted.
Everybody in the chain of command, top to bottom, that was engaged in this eavesdropping was acting in an emergency situation, acting to protect us.
Though progressive activists are demanding a thorough investigation and full public disclosure, some acknowledge that prosecutions are unlikely. And so far, President Obama seems to be signaling that he wants to move on. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Washington.